The rain was coming down harder than ever, that kind of cold, uninviting rain that makes everyone run for shelter, heads buried in umbrellas, eyes on their phones. But under the cracked roof of an old bus stop sat an elderly man, shivering, soaked to the bone. His clothes clung to his thin frame, and the small plastic bag in his hands held everything he owned: a pair of worn shoes, a photo, and a loaf of bread. His name was Rafiq. Once a bus driver, now just another forgotten soul in a city that never looked back. He had been waiting for hours, not for a bus, but for someone. Anyone. A woman passed by, her heels splashing through puddles. She caught a glimpse of him, hesitated for half a second, then looked away. A group of college students ran past, laughing, one of them pointing, but not stopping. The world kept moving, until a boy, no older than 15, walked up. His name was Adil. He wore a school uniform, his backpack half open, and his sneakers soaked. He noticed Rafiq immediately. Something in the old man's trembling hands and quiet eyes stopped him. Adil hesitated, then slowly stepped closer. "Uncle, are you okay?" he asked softly. Rafiq looked up, startled. His voice cracked. "I'm fine, son. Just waiting for the rain to stop." Adil looked at him, really looked. The man wasn't fine. His lips were purple, and his fingers were shaking so badly that the bread inside the bag was wet. Without thinking, Adil unzipped his bag and pulled out his lunch, a wrapped sandwich and a small box of rice. He placed it beside the man. "Here, uncle. You can have this. I'll eat at home." Rafiq tried to refuse. No, beta, you keep it. You must be hungry." But Adil shook his head. "My mom always packs too much." He smiled faintly. The old man looked at him with tears pooling in his eyes. He reached out a shaky hand and rested it on Adil's. "No one's spoken to me all day," he whispered. "Thank you." Adil smiled again, awkwardly, like kids do when they don't know what to say. Then he took off his school jacket and wrapped it around the man's shoulders. "Stay warm, uncle. The bus will come soon." And before the man could protest, Adil ran off into the rain, without an umbrella, without his jacket, leaving behind a piece of warmth that money could never buy. When the next bus arrived, Rafiq climbed on slowly, clutching that jacket like a treasure. He sat by the window, eyes wet, watching the rain blur the city lights. He whispered softly to himself, "Maybe the world isn't as cold as it feels." It was nearly midnight. The small grocery store at the corner of Market Street was closing up. The fluorescent lights flickered above the shelves as Sarah, a tired cashier in her 20s, counted the coins in her register. She had been working double shifts all week, bills were piling up, and her younger brother's school fees were due. She hadn't told him how close they were to losing their apartment. Just as she was about to lock the door, a woman entered, drenched, clutching a baby wrapped in a torn blanket. "I'm sorry, we're about to close," Sarah began, but when she saw the woman's face, she stopped. The woman looked desperate, her eyes red from crying. "Please," she said, "I just need some milk for my baby. I only have a few coins." Sarah looked down. The woman's coins barely made half the price. Something inside her stirred: exhaustion, empathy, memory. She remembered her own mother, standing in a store like this years ago, begging for bread after her father died. Without a word, Sarah went to the fridge, took out a bottle of milk, a loaf of bread, and a few baby food jars. She placed them in a paper bag and handed it to the woman. The woman's hands trembled. I can't pay for this." Sarah smiled weakly. "It's okay. You don't have to." Tears filled the woman's eyes instantly. She held the bag to her chest. "God bless you," she whispered. "You don't know what this means." As she left, the wind carried her words softly back into the empty store. Sarah stood still for a moment, staring at the door. The register light blinked. She'd have to report the missing stock. It would probably come out of her paycheck. But she didn't care. For the first time in weeks, she felt something warm inside her chest, something she thought she'd lost: purpose. A few minutes later, as she turned off the lights and prepared to leave, a voice came from behind her. "Excuse me, miss." It was an older man, neatly dressed, carrying a shopping bag. He smiled gently. "I saw what you did for that woman." Sarah froze. "Oh, sir, I." He raised a hand. "Don't worry. I just wanted to say, that was beautiful." He reached into his wallet and pulled out a folded envelope. "This is for you." Sarah frowned. I can't. Please, he insisted. Someone once helped me when I was lost. Tonight, you did the same for her. Let me do this for you. He placed the envelope on the counter and left before she could protest. When she opened it, her hands shook. Inside was a note that read, "Greater than, never stop being kind. The world needs more hearts like yours." And beneath the note, a check for $2,000. Sarah sat down right there on the floor, tears streaming down her face. In that moment, she didn't feel tired. She didn't feel poor. She just felt human. She thought of the woman and her baby. She thought of her brother's school fees. And she whispered, through her tears, maybe, humanity still exists after all. The next morning, sunlight broke through the clouds. Adil walked to school wearing a different jacket, an old one his mother found. As he passed the same bus stop, he saw no one there, just the faint sound of a bus engine in the distance. He smiled, remembering the man's face. Somewhere across the city, Sarah dropped her brother off at school. She handed him lunch money and kissed his forehead. Be kind today, she said. You never know who might need it. And as she drove off, a warm breeze carried the scent of rain and hope, as if the city itself had softened overnight. Because kindness never really disappears. It moves from one heart to another. And every small act, every gentle gesture, becomes proof that humanity still exists. Dove.